I think infrastructure delivery is not only about economic assistance or economic cooperation. Today, infrastructure delivery has already become one instrument of geopolitics. I think China's BRI is not only about economic cooperation. It's also one tool of Chinese government to enhance its influence across the world. Today, G7 countries have announced a new plan, global partnership for infrastructure, and the EU has a global gateway. Of course, China has BRI. All of them are the instruments of geopolitical strategy. This is reality. Infrastructure should be one instrument of economic cooperation, but the reality is opposite. Today's topic is about infrastructure. Probably we should review all the infrastructure plans of major power. Then we can make a comparison or analysis. So in 2011, the then Secretary of State of the U.S., Hillary Clinton, has announced a Silk Road plan. I think the focus is for connection between Afghanistan and other South Asia countries. I think this plan has failed. This plan has made no progress. And then in 2013, China's President Xi Jinping announced a Belt and Road Initiative in Kazakhstan and Indonesia, respectively. Actually, this is China's response to the strategy of pivot to Asia or Asia-Pacific balance of the Obama administration. I think China has invested a lot of money, technology, capital, and know-how in BRI. China has made some progress. Of course, BRI has a lot of problems, challenges like debt trap and other issues. I think it's true. But on the other hand, BRI has inspired competition in offering infrastructure to developing countries. Now, as a response to China's BRI, we have seen the US and Europe and Japan and India, they are doing something to respond to China's BRI. For example, Biden has announced Build Back Better World plan last year, but this plan has made no progress. 1 year has passed. There is no any progress. And this year, G7 has announced a new plan, global partnership for infrastructure. G7 countries have promised they will invest $600 billion in infrastructure delivery for developing countries. This plan includes 300 billion euro from EU. Okay, this is EU's plan, Global Gateway. So we are seeing competition for infrastructure between US, EU, Japan, and China. From the perspective of third world developing countries, this is really good. In the past, they had only one choice if they want to have more investment in infrastructure. They need capital and technology from Western countries and Japan. And only Western countries and Japan can meet their requirements. But now we have China. China has provided the BRI projects for many developing countries, and the investment is enormous. And the response of the Western countries, I mean, US, EU, including Japan, is very ambitious as well. So for developing countries, this is really good because they have now much more choice than previously. In this sense, I think BRI has inspired the competition of infrastructure. It's a contribution. Of course, it's also one part of Chinese geopolitical strategy.
So there is another question. Here just posted. Okay, I will read it out to you. As regards to the strength in infrastructure, what is a unique advantage of China? The efficiency in construction, the abundant funds and easy accessibility, or the large share in the past?
Well, I don't want to monopolize the discussion. Chao Ting, do you want to jump in here?
I think I try my best to answer this question. Of course, this is just my personal perspective. I think first of all, China has a very strong willingness, national willingness BRI is a project of Chinese leader Xi Jinping. He is in the position to mobilize all the resources necessary for infrastructure. This is different from US and Europe. In US and Europe, the government has limited power, so they cannot order enterprise to invest in developing countries in delivery infrastructure. They can convince them, they cannot order them, but the Chinese state is very powerful. Second, the willingness is strong and the capability is strong as well, because China has accumulated enormous capital over the past decades. Over the 4 decades, China has attracted a lot of foreign investment, but now China has huge capital as well, because the saving rate of Chinese people is very, very high. So, the Chinese government has a huge capital to invest abroad. This is a second point. And the third point, China has experience and know-how and human resource. If you have visited China, I think many people will be impressed by the Chinese infrastructure. I think China has a lot of university graduates who study STEM. STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Huge amount of university graduates. I think it's 10 times as many as in the United States. And China has acquired a lot of experience. So this is my understanding. And China is a developing country, so probably they understand the conditions of other developing countries better than developed countries. So I think for developed countries, environmental protection, neighbor protection, and human rights, rule of law are very important. But for China, I think they focus more on hard part of the infrastructure. Probably this is preferred by many developing countries. If you focus on the soft part of the infrastructure, high quality infrastructure, this is good. But of course, the cost will be high, will be much higher, and the time will be much longer. I think China has focused on the hard part. Therefore, the speed of delivery is faster and the cost is lower. For many developing countries, probably this is an advantage of China. Of course, I admit, I recognize that US, EU, Japan have advantage. China has its also advantage. If they can cooperate with each other, this would be perfect. But this is not the reality.